Hello everyone, welcome back to Northwestern Central Railroad. Sorry about the very long delay, I had some other stuff to be catching up on. So today, we're there's gonna be a two-parter. If you remember the last video I did a comparison between my Lionel 736 Berkshire from the post-war era with a scale Berkshire that was made around 2007, 2009-ish with TMCC. Now today we're going to do something a little different, even though it's pretty much the same vein. We're going to look at the differences and comparisons between the Lionel 736 yet again with my Polar Express Berkshire that has been made since 2005 or 4. So yeah, this is going to be a continuation on the stuff that we did in the last episode. So yeah, this is going to be good. Now we're going to start with since you already know about the 736, we're going to start with the Polar Express, which is probably known by amongst other people to be one of the most iconic pictures of, people would say, Christmas themed, because this is a Christmas themed train set after most notably one of my most favorite Christmas movies, The Polar Express, the exact same name. So yeah, Lionel did a partnership with I believe it was Warner Brothers, who is the distributor for the film, to put out some merchandise, and of course, perfect timing for them to make a train. Now, movie accurate, definitely not. But you know what? This is actually a pretty good model. It's definitely you can tell it's pretty different compared to the 736's height, and some very different notable features that we will go over. But we will start with the Polar Express. So, this is going to be the Polar Express versus the 736. Let's get going with the latter. Alright, so we're going to do the Polar Express first. Now I'm doing a few drone shots here to show. This is similar engine to the 736, but it does have its notable key features and differences that set it apart from the original 1948 model. Now we're going to start up with the front here. Obviously the big difference between these two is it's a cow catcher, because there was not on 736. You don't got one. It's just a regular standard cow catcher with a kind of put-in coupler. This one is just made for the use of plowing anything out of the tracks, mostly in this case snow. So yeah, and then right above it we got two little studs here for little minifigures. That's right, you can actually get minifigures. This is one of them. I don't even know her name, honestly, but there's little holes on bottom of these minifigures. What you do is stick them in the hole. I know that. There you go. You stick them in the hole. There's a little constraints to get them in, so then they're actually sturdy without them falling off on the middle of their run with the train. That's what I feel like makes the Polar Express really nice. Creative control and obviously imagination. You can set up these characters however you like, with the several different studs around the engine, with just being them two on the locomotive, and with the matching set of passenger cars, which I will not go over because that is not part of this series. So yeah, those little studs there can create a lot of little scenes that kids can make with these characters. I believe this came with the girl, the boy, I believe the nerd kid, which is definitely not a nerd, he's a turd for messing up the ideology for the real engine's name in the movie. But you know what, we're not going to go there. I believe you also get the conductor, Mr. Tom Hanks, and Santa, which is Tom Hanks again. So yeah, I believe that's the crew figure set that you would get with the set when you get the engine. So yeah, going down the side here, very noticeable difference between each engine. The drawbar on this one is very, very small, and compensating for for the smaller form factor, so it can make tighter curves and fit around a Christmas tree better. But I feel like one of the big reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of this model is the wheels. They're really small for a Berkshire, and I feel like that shows that this is definitely not a scale model, but an okay model for O-gauge beginners. Oh, jeez. But they're, even for being I would say, a semi-expensive to expensive starter set, I mean, it's got some good details in there. I mean, this is obviously a used model. As you can tell, I had a little bit of too much fun with it when I was a child. But yeah, there's definitely good detail and style on here where it can be considered a really good, reliable steamer. Now go into the cab here, where we see the firebox, all the little nice rivets on it. And there's a few spots on here which I would actually say positives. I would prefer more on this model than the 736, but we'll get to that shortly. Here comes the cab. As you can see, you got a very nice detailed cab. I don't know if this is movie accurate, but yeah. The 736 hanging out there for a bit. You'll be back shortly. Oh, yeah. So sadly, there are no studs in here, which I feel like are really underestimating that. I feel like that it would be a little bit better to get them studs in there so you could put crew figures, the kids in there to reenact, so kids can reimagine a scene from the movie where they're about to kill all of them deer, but no. We're gonna go to the bottom here. This is where we see a lot of the modernization of this engine. We get the nice pickup rollers. We get a really nice and sturdy trailing truck, even though that hook there is a little bent out of shape, but it's fine. But the reason why I like the motor on this engine preferred to the original is because of its age, the time that it was made. I believe this is a flywheel motor in here with the electronic E-unit on a circuit board or something. You can kind of see some of the stuff poking through the bottom there. And with a smaller form factor, you could be able to make a different shape and mold of this engine. So yeah, since that was the engine, we're going to go through the tender. Honestly, this is the exact same mold for the 6466W tender. I'm going to do a little comparison of that real quick. It is so identical that it's unbelievable. There are obviously some differences. Big one is the style of trucks. You got the post-war style trucks on the 6466W. On the Polar Express tender, you get these really nice plastic, actually really well detailed side frames for trucks. Just considering that this is a starter set, and I believe that is it is die cast. So it definitely is going to be in competition with it. But on the other side, it's a completely different story. But we'll get to that shortly. So yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, the rivets, another key noticeable feature, besides the huge ass logo on each one. The rivets are more noticeable, and when you actually feel them, you can hear it and actually feel the holes are pressed out a little bit more, so then it gives it more of a realistic vibe. Here they're still there, but they're definitely smaller, and they're definitely not as like rigid as they are on the Polar Express tender. The drawbar, since we get to that next, this is another key feature. This one still has the tab on it. It's a really thin rectangle, but it has this little round oval shape around it. This one's just a straight rectangle with a really thick drawbar hole in it, which is weird because when you look at the hook on the engine, there's a lot of space being taken up. Now, I don't know if that was used that way to get a more tighter curve on this engine, but not really sure on that. Coal load on top, it is different, obviously, so to make up for the different style of engine that we're doing. Another key feature is the backs, with the little back area back here. They're the exact same design. You can see the boiler. I don't know what that, I'm not really sure what that is. Circle, you see the circle there, that latch there. But this one is definitely has a difference. I built this one, trying to see, yes. So there actually is a hole on the 6466W with a little grid line pattern covering it. On the Polar Express model, you see that there's a straightforward hole in there, probably for just to get the sound out of it. Now, functionality wise is the reason why we're all here for the view and the tender. So we're gonna just take a look at the bottom here, which really shows. So this is a classic air whistle style tender with the pickup rollers, and then when you use the whistle throttle, the whistle button, at least on my ZW, click forward the whistle, or since it doesn't work there, I use the bell button. That works as well. And then this one's a bit different. This is actually a rail sounds tender, which that means is you got a you got a little electronic wheel right here, a little metal, and that's a little sensor indicator saying that, hey, we got the idle, there are idle sounds for this engine. Those got to stop playing so we can get the train moving, because the wheel's moving, we got to play those sounds for chugging. And yeah, they're all digital made up sounds. It's not like an air whistle thing. You can adjust the volume on it through this volume slider. And yeah, that's just pretty much it for the tenders. And now, since we got the differences done for the tenders and the similarities, we're gonna do the similarities and differences with the 736 and the Polar Express engine. All right, so we're gonna go over the 736 real quick, because since we already went over through the comparison with this and the scale Berkshire, it's gonna be a different story. Now we're gonna do different pros and cons of each model. A pro, very rugged, heavy, pretty damn heavy, big size, taller width, so then it gives it a little bit more of a big chunky engine vibe. This one a little bit dwarf sized, but better metal construction and a little bit more detail, considering that this is a different model. Now, Pro 2 is the wheels. The wheel on the 736 are really big, and so it gives it a little bit more of a deluxe feel, considering this is one of the more deluxe models that Lionel put out in the mid to late 40s. But with Polar Express, the wheels are smaller. I'm guessing just for the smaller form factor size for curves. And this one, as I would say a con on the 736, you see the boiler right here. There's only one. Sorry about that. There's only one line of rivets on the bottom of the boiler, while the top of it is completely blank with that one pipe. The pro on this one is that it has a bunch of rivets as well on the bottom and on top of the boiler right next to the cab. As you can see, they're definitely different. Con on this model has the mechanical E unit, so this model is definitely going to be a little bit more rougher to run because it may have more problems and issues with it in the future. This one, a pro, because this has the, I believe, a flywheel motor, or a CAN motor at least, with the electronic E unit as a circuit board, not as the 3-position E unit in there. Pro, we're gonna do the tenders as well since you already got time. Pro for the 6466W, really nice form factor size. Actually kind of heavy for a post-war, for a smaller post-war tender. Con on this one is that it's limited to only one brand, while this one is you can use with multiple different types of engines. This one you have to use with the Polar Express or also look off. Pro on this model, it has the classic air whistle, so anyone who's like looking to collect vintage trains will love this tender. Con on this model is that it has the rail sounds, which is only specifically tied for this one model, which is a little bit of a downside, but the rail sounds on this model is still pretty good. I do like it. And we're gonna do a final big pro and big con for each engine. Pro, big Pro for 736 with the tender. It is great size for anyone who's collecting post-war trains, and it's a great puller. Con is that it's really old, and it will have mechanical issues in the future if it's not given the proper servicing that it needs. Pro on the Polar Express, really good form factor, size, and branding, so you can use this for the Christmas time. And con is that it is smaller than the 736 and has the branding on it, which labels it strictly for Polar Express. So you can't really, so it'll look a little off when you run it with freight cars. Oh yeah, one more thing for the Pro, for this Polar Express, real quick, I forgot. It's got the better motor and circuit board design in it, so it'll definitely pull better. With the additional, I forgot to mention, there's traction tires on this engine. I believe there's 4. As you can see on the bottom, actually there's 2 on my model. I actually have seen some in the past that have 4 traction tires. So yeah, we're gonna get to the run session with these 2 engines very, very momentarily. Alright, so we got the 736 on the track here. I'm gonna let the Polar Express and his little buddy here stay trackside, so then when we get to running that engine, it'll be a nice smooth transition. So this one is definitely gonna be look a little bit better behind the freight cars. Obviously, it's definitely gonna be a lot louder than the Polar Express because this is running off the old gear reduction motor that was used in obviously a lot of post-war. You do see some in pre-war and NPC, and early to late NPC engines, and actually some in the 90s with the example of my Lionel 90th anniversary GP9. With that actually is the I believe the same motor design as the post-war GP9. But without getting off topic too much, we're gonna see how this baby runs. And let's get going. Here's the whistle on it. As you can hear the buzzing from the E unit. I'm gonna turn on the power for a bit so we can get moving. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so now that was the 736 running. Now we're gonna get going with the Berkshire, and the Polar Express Berkshire, and see how that little bad boy goes with this freight car contest. Alright, so now we got the Polar Express on the track right now. And compared to its post-war counterpart, it is very different for operational wise and functionality. But I don't want to give too much away from this before I start running, so let's get going with that. As you can see, we get little light up markers up front, including with the headlight, something that 736 did not have, including with the rail sounds and package tender. So here's the bell. Here is the whistle. You do get some crew talk with it.
Dispatch, we are standing by for track orders, over.
Engineer, you are cleared outbound, over.
Thanks for that dispatch. We are
only get the rail sounds features when you actually blow the whistle on the tank, which is a little weird, but I'm fine with it. So yeah, let's get the engine rolling on the track since we got the all clear. And you can see how smooth and slow that this bad boy goes because the special, because you got the flywheel motor. Also, my tendons are working. Back it up for a second. There you go. That's a little problem with the tender that I got. It sometimes just likes to blow the whistle on random. But there is also another feature on the tender that I forgot to mention. There's actually a screeching sound effect if the train's going at a very fast speed and it suddenly stops. I'm gonna try to imitate that right now. That was a little bit of it. So yeah, that was that sound effect. There we go. Yeah. Now, since we ran both models of our Berkshire here, we'll move the train back for a bit. And then we're gonna get the 736 back on the layout for our final thoughts on both of these engines. And now comes the moment of truth. Final thoughts, even though I just said that like a few seconds ago. Yeah, trying to do comedy, not good. So yeah, this is a very, very nice duo of two engines. Very different from each other, but still holds up compared to 2023 standards. And of course, you got the amazing post-war model, which I feel like I would say is really good. I would say a little bit better than the Polar Express. It still has its faults though. But you know, I still think this is a very good model because you can still find this around for a good price. If do a flashback section here, I did say that the price that I got for the 736 was, or I believe it was 145 or something, excuse me, for something like that. And that came with the tender as well. So yeah, it was a really good deal on that because usually you find these things around the price tag at around 150 to 165 or 170, depending on the model. If it's the original 726, or if it's obviously this model, or the 726 re-release, which was I believe it was the mid 60s because they did the re-release because the 736 at the time could not be made anymore because they had to use more metal supply for the Korean War that was going on at the same time. So yeah, no more magnetrection for that engine, so that's why it was called re-release. But with the Polar Express, it's way more readily available than I would say the 736 because one of its iconic look and branding, and two, it's just a really nice engine because I believe there's like 5 or 6 different variations of this. I know there's one that has an air whistle tender. Obviously, there's the one with the rail sounds tender, and then now with the newly tooled Lion Chief 2.0, I believe it's a 2.0 for this engine in particular, with really nice sound effects, more closer to the movie, and actually I believe it has the original whistle for the scale Berkshires that Lionel used. So yeah, I'm gonna clean out some of the set here. So yeah. Even though I'm not 100% sure what like, you can get in these older models, maybe like somewhere closer to 200 or something, because they're not made anymore. But I don't know why you would go for those older sets, because the new Lion Chief one actually is pretty damn good. I do like it, because I believe one of my pals had it, and I was able to do a test drive with it. It ran pretty well, and even I feel like it ran a little bit better on the smartphone with the Lion Chief app. So yeah, I feel like both of these are really good, but if I would have to pick a winner, in my personal opinion, I would have to do 736, because, you know, it's just, with that iconic look and resemblance, it's perfect. It really is. So yeah, that about wraps up for this video. Leave a comment down below, even though it sounds stupid, I have to say this for more recognition. Leave a comment down below. What is your opinion on both these engines, and if you would have to pick a winner from this video, which one would you do? I'm a little intrigued by it. So yeah, that about wraps up for this video. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, so then you'll be able to get more followers and subscribers on the channel, and more recognition. Love for that to happen. So yeah, that about wraps up for this video. This is going to be the Northwestern Central Railroad signing off. Have a very nice day.